Sunday morning. Well, what's going on in for health in our city? With us today is Dr. Mitchell Katz, and he is the president and CEO of the New York City Health and Hospitals. And, well, can you give us an update on Memorial Day weekend? We're going into the summer. What do we have to worry about the most?
Well, boy, the national news is not very good. You have a terrible Ebola outbreak in the Congo. We have hantavirus on a cruise ship, and we have a bunch of people about to lose their health insurance when they can't afford it because of subsidies going away. So it's been a difficult couple of weeks.
It certainly sounds like it. Now, you're also worried about the psychiatric people in places like Bellevue. And we had a brief discussion beforehand, and at one time, there were like 28,000 in Bellevue-type institutions in New York City, and now there are only about 8,000. So where are the rest of these people, and do we have to worry walking around our streets?
Well, John, you know that there was a big movement for deinstitutionalization. State facilities were closed across the country, and when they were closed, the promise was that there were going to be created smaller residential facilities, halfway houses, places where people could get their care. But it turned out that the state institutions were closed and nothing else was created for people. So we have very few alternatives for people who are suffering, whether they're suffering from mental illness or they're suffering from addiction. Judges and others have very few alternatives on how to help those people.
Understood. So right now there are people that there is no room in Bellevue-type institutions, and I guess they get left out in the streets. They get left out at home. Is that what it is?
Well, I think the problem begins with the idea that the people can only be held if they are at risk to themselves or to others. So that's a fairly narrow criteria, and that's the criteria that enables you to hold someone against their will. What we need are other options. So, I mean, we did Health and Hospitals developed a bridge to home, very successful, 50 people. We're able to provide them with nursing and medical care. It's not a hospital, but it's been a very successful place for people who are suffering from mental illness. Mental illness is a chronic problem. It gets better and worse. People are better when they take their medicines. But you can imagine that if you're homeless, you might well lose those medicines. You might well be under a lot of stress because you have no place to sleep. It just makes the mental illness worse. We need other alternatives. They're not going to be hospitals because the laws are very narrow about who can be held against their will, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't create places that are good places for people with serious mental illness.
Now, let me ask you, we have a problem in New York, and the judges are letting out people that are going out and committing other crimes. Are they mostly psychiatric, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, there are three reasons, right, that people could commit a crime. They could have a mental illness and be hearing a devil's voice saying, "Kill John." They could have no mental illness, but they're high, and the substances are telling them, hurt John. Or they could just be evil. We can never rule out evil. Anyone who's read the novels of P.D. James knows that evil lurks in the soul of many people. So I don't want to say everybody who commits a crime is not necessarily mentally ill. In fact, the mentally ill are usually preyed upon, not the people who commit crimes. But the issue is, what is the alternative? I think judges don't like to send people to Rikers because that tends to only make things worse. But they lack other alternatives, and that's what I think we need. We need places that are not Rikers, that are not the hospital, but where people can get treatments, where their medicines are kept for them so that they're not lost. And we have examples of that, but this country has never invested in that particular realm.
Understood. Now, what else would you like to tell the all New Yorkers or all American people on a Sunday morning, Memorial Day weekend? What else should we be doing to have a better summer?
I'm a primary care doctor, so I want all your viewers to exercise more. We believe that movement is medicine. And the properties of exercise, you don't have to go to a gym. You could just walk a great deal more. But the properties of exercise are really amazing, and they have no side effects. So, I'm a big one on everybody needs to move more.
Understood. Well, Dr. Katz, thank you so much for coming on this Sunday morning, and let's keep talking because I think we could be very valuable to our listeners and very valuable to all New Yorkers. Thank you so much.
I love your show, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you.